What's going on, guys? Cole Simonson here today. A little bit of change of pace. The weather's been terrible. I haven't been killing any coyotes, so I'm actually going to start going over what you need to begin coyote hunting, and it's really simple, easy, and anyone can do it on a pretty low budget. So first off, excuse the mess. We're moving around, and I have boxes everywhere, and it's been crazy. But anyways, biggest question I get is what call am I using and what sounds am I using? So there's a ton of calls on the market right now. I stick with the top 2 or 3, Foxpro, Lucky Duck, and EOTech. I don't know much about EOTechs, but I do know quite a bit about the Foxpro and the Lucky Duck. I'm personally using a Foxpro right now. It does really well. It's this one right here, a Foxpro Fusion. Dual speakers like that. You can't move these speakers, which is kind of a bummer, but I just end up facing it the direction I want the coyotes to come from, or I think they're going to come from. And it's been working pretty well. You can download up to 1,000 different sounds on this, and you won't ever need 1,000 different sounds. It's lightweight, so I like that. It's easy to carry. It comes with a very easy to use Foxpro remote. It has a timer on it, so you time your stands. Volume's easy to use. You can put your favorite presets in it, and if you want to do it right, you got Fox data, so it records your stands, exactly what you did on that stand, and it helps if you want to really narrow it down to exactly what the coyotes are responding to and how long you've been sitting and moon phase and barometric pressure. You can get it all in that handheld controller. This is one of their more expensive ones. I think it was around $350 or $400 when I bought it. The new Shockwave is absolutely fantastic. I love calling with that one. My buddy has it. We've had really good luck with it. It actually has 2 movable speakers, so you can point them in different directions depending where you think the coyotes are going to come from. It is a little bit heavier call, so if you're walking in half mile, 3/4 of a mile, it does get a little bit of taxing on you, especially after 5 or 6 stands. Now, starting off the call sequences, I'm really particular with how much I give away on calling, especially because I've figured out the coyotes in my area, so I really don't want to give away my tips and tricks for my area, especially if any of my friends are watching who know where I hunt. But it all comes down to 2 things. 1, are they pressured? 2, have they been called? It always comes down to 2 things. 1, are they pressured? And 2, is it what time of year it is? So pressured coyotes are really, really hard to call in, especially if they've been shot at. If they've come to the call, haven't been shot at, and left, usually those coyotes will come to a different sound eventually. But what you want to do, if you know they're pressured, like a lot of the areas I hunt, they're pressured, is you want to mix up the sounds. You don't want to go extremely long on your calling. You don't want to let it run forever and ever and ever. The coyotes really key in on that. And you want to think of what other coyote hunters are doing and go completely opposite of that. 75-80% of coyote hunters will just go straight to stress, always to stress, and they'll call and call and call and call for 15-20 minutes, pick up, leave. I don't do that. If you ever listen to my calling on my stands, I really do go through a little bit here and there with you on exactly what I'm doing, especially the first part of the stand and when the coyote's coming in. So my basic stand, where I always start off with, depending on time of year, but Lately, it's been a couple howls here and there, female howls, nothing challenging or too aggressive. Then I start off really low with a different style of prey distress. I don't always go with just the standard jackrabbit. I'll go with something else other than a jackrabbit. If I have, I'll usually play that for 2 or 3 minutes. I'll mute it for 2-3 minutes, depending on the area. I'll even play it for 1.5 to 2 minutes and mute it for 5 minutes and switch up sounds. And once I figure out the sound that they're coming into, I'll always incorporate that sound into my stand. So I'll usually do either one solid prey distress, which I've had them come into in that certain area before, through the stand, and in about 15 minutes, I'll pause it. I'll wait until 18 or 19 minutes, and then I'll play a fight sound. So that's kind of my basic stand right there. Like I said, you got to figure it out for your own area. I've getting pretty close and or have figured it out in my areas, so I'm not giving that up. Next thing is how you want to set up. The number one thing about a coyote stand is comfortable. You have to be comfortable. So whatever that takes, whether it's bringing a pad to sit on or a little chair to sit on. My buddy hunts off a chair. He loves it. I hunt off a sitting pad so I can stay lower to the ground. But you just have to be comfortable. Wear as many layers as you need to stay warm, especially in these winter months coming up. I use the layering system from Scree. It does it very, very well. I usually have long johns underneath, covered with pants, and then up top I wear a long john shirt, a down jacket, the Scree down jacket, Scree hard scrabble, and Scree vest when it's really cold out. And then if it's really, really cold, I have a bomber hat, they're called, where it's got fur on the ears and you can clip it under your chin. And then I have a face mask, which is very important, especially on sunny days. You always want a face mask because you can hide everything from here down with your regular camo, but your neck and to your face, especially on just sunny days, really shows. And those coyotes will be able to pick it out, especially if you kind of have a reflection off your face. So I always wear a face mask too. Next, we are going to go with, it's a big debate on which stabilization system to use. Bipods, tripods, or shooting sticks. Personally, I use shooting sticks, little $30 shooting sticks from Primos. They do extremely well for me. I can move around a lot better than I could with a tripod on that. I just have to move the sticks and not the whole tripod or myself. I found they are a little bit wobbly because you can't get tucked in really tight. You have to have your hand out front with that shooting stick. But I've also found there are very few bipods that will make the cut for uneven ground that you so often find in coyote hunting. So you're always shooting at a weird angle with a bipod. Swagger makes an extremely good bipod, which I probably will be getting one of those here in a little while just to test out and try out. I know the boys, if you want to look at them, the boys over at Hidden Instinct have a really good review on them right now. But that's kind of just for your stabilization system. It's all just personal preference. The world championship callers right now, Garrett and Colton. Colton uses swaggers and Garrett uses shooting sticks. And he swears he hates a tripod. So it's really personal preference. Al Morrison from Foxpro, he uses a tripod on every single one of his stands, and he kills a lot of coyotes every year, and a lot of them are at longer ranges. So it's kind of just, you got to find what works best for you. If you're getting started, I just stick with shooting sticks or a little bipod. They're always easy, cheap ones to find. They work good, especially for beginners. Finally here, we are gonna go with our optics, and not our scopes. That'll be a completely different review. I can go on for an hour on scopes and why to use them and why not. But what we're gonna do is just our simple 2 optics that are absolute must-have on your stand, and that is your binoculars and your rangefinder. Starting off with the binoculars, I just have a cheap pair of 12 by 50 Diamondbacks. They come in really handy, especially if you're hunting in sagebrush. Those coyotes just disappear into that sagebrush, and these pick them out very, very well. And I've spotted a ton of coyotes with them in the past, so they are very, very handy to have. A lot of people don't use them because they're like, well, I'm gonna see a coyote moving, you know, before he gets to my stand. I use these especially on the early part of the stand and the last part of the stand, because on the early part of the stand I'll usually howl and I'll start scanning, and a coyote might pick up his head to see what's going on, see if he can see another coyote in the area, and that's when I know I have a coyote coming in first thing off. And I also use them at the last part of the stand, so because I don't want to get up if I have a coyote coming in from a long ways away. If I can see a coyote coming in from 700, 800 yards with my binos, then I'm going to sit on that stand longer and wait for him to make his way in. So it's a big, big advantage, especially the first and the last part of your stands. And lastly, we have our rangefinder. This is just a little SIG Model 800 rangefinder. It does its job, but it could go a little bit longer, in my opinion, especially on cloudy days. I usually only get about 350, 400 yards out of it, and that's still within my shooting range. So that will be getting upgraded eventually here, but they are priceless, especially I sit down on my stand, and while I'm getting everything organized and ready and letting everything calm down a little bit, I look around, and I always have my rangefinder ranging certain objects, 200, 300, 350. I know my ranges before the coyotes come in. It'll save you a ton of headache and a ton of misses if you remember to range all your objects around you that you can remember, and know that if a coyote posts up on here and he's not coming in, that's 300 yards. Dial your scope or put your holdover on him and squeeze the trigger. You don't have to do much more moving than that. It saves a ton of time and, like I said, a ton of headache. As if you watch the previous video, which I'll put up here, you can see that I ranged a spot that I had a feeling a coyote was going to come in on, and I ranged that spot before the stand started. I actually caught him coming out, and I knew that it was at 300 yards, so I just dialed up to 300, put it on him, and drilled him. So they come in really handy, and they'll get you those dogs that either hang up or are trying to sneak out on you. So guys, that is it for my basic setup. I will show you exactly how I set up in the field one of these days, and in my exact stands I make to kind of break that barrier of what you want to do and what stands you want to make. But for today, that is just the basic secondary gear you need, other than your rifle and your scope, to start out coyote hunting. If you have any questions or comments, please put them below here, and ask away. I'll answer anything you guys need. Give it a thumbs up if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification for more reviews, hunting, and tips and tricks, especially for coyotes. So we'll catch you guys later. Have a good season and be safe.